Hey guys, so I'm going to be reading Proverbs chapter 1, just the first couple of verses from the NIV version. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. What stood out to me is that Proverbs, which is one of the books of wisdom, is not exclusive for the dumb or the ones who haven't figured it out. In verse 5, it says, let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get wisdom. If wise people are invited to pay attention, then we who need constant direction should pour ourselves onto this book. And the word that stood out to me throughout the passage is the word listen. It's not a passive word, it's an active word, it's a verb, right? And such a powerful word, because if I can master the art of listening, I'll go places. Most often in my conversation with Gino, I have a hard time listening. I know where the conversation is heading, and I already know the answer, and I'm thinking to myself, let me just butt in and say what I need to say. But in order to listen, you need to shut up first. Shut out that urge to assume, judge, complain, or just make yourself feel good because you think that you have something of value to add. When you decide to listen, you need to be in the moment. You need to shut out other distractions. You need to shut out that urge to put yourself first or to be heard first. And when you listen, there is a reward. The reward is it will add to your learning. There is always something more valuable that you will learn when you listen. And the Passion Translation, I have to read it out. Verse 33 also adds on to, some more rewards of listening. And this is what it says. It says, but the one who always listens to me will live undisturbed in a heavenly peace, free from fear, confident and courageous. You will rest unafraid and sheltered from the storms of life. So what are the rewards? Let's count that, okay? Undisturbed, you will live in peace, you will live free from fear, you will be confident, you will be courageous, you will rest unafraid, and you will be protected from the storms of life. Isn't that amazing? But where there is reward, there is also punishment. And if you refuse to listen, there is punishment. If you read through verses 24 to 28, it says the punishment of not listening is calamity, disaster, distress, and trouble. And even when you search for wisdom, that you won't find it. Scary. And the very famous verse 7, right? You've heard this quoted so many times. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And some of us may have this whole concept of the fear of God misunderstood. The fear here is more to do with reverence for God, a God who is holy, pure, full of mercy and grace, loving and just, right? And I'm reminded, like, when you respect someone, you listen to them, you follow them, you serve them, and you love them, right? I'm reminded of this verse in Matthew chapter 22, verse 37, where it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That's fearing God. And also understanding that God hates sin, so we must run from sin. You don't want to cause deep hurt to someone that you respect, someone that you love, right? And that to me is the fear of God. And moving on, in the last verse 32, there are so many verses that I can go on and dwell on, but I want to, keep this short. So it says in the Message version, it says, carelessness kills, complacency is murder. What is carelessness? Failure to give sufficient attention to something, right? So when we neglect the word of God, when we neglect the instructions of our parents, or when we neglect the wise counsel of those who are in a position of authority, it kills us. It kills our spirit, it kills our mind, it kills our body. And it says complacency is murder. What's complacency? Complacency is, self-satisfaction, especially when you are unaware of the actual danger. When we operate in our own strength and see temporary results without getting to the root of it, when you overcome that temptation of watching porn for that one time, husbands and wives, you can't be satisfied with the way things are in your relationship, especially when it's not going well. You can't be complacent about the challenges ahead, about the decisions that you need to take about your job, accepting the situation for what it is. No, we are called to rise up and do something about it. Complacency is murder. And you will murder your relationship, you will murder your own potential, you will murder your dreams. And I just want to wrap this up by saying, let's not be complacent. Let's be very, very intentional. Let's dig deep. Let's listen to what God is calling us to do in this season. And I read somewhere that, a proverb a day keeps all foolishness at bay. And I completely agree. And I really can't wait to hear from the rest of you. Tune in again for Proverbs chapter 2, and let's continue going on this journey. Let's stay strong.